Steve Jones with the Hardscape channel. Here I've got with me an industry famous person, Chuck Taylor.
Thank you, Steve. Good to be here.
Chuck, thanks. Here we are at the annual IC Interlocking Concrete Pavement Institute meeting in Orlando, Florida. And of course, as always, they pick a wonderfully nice resort. I wouldn't mind a Fairfield Inn myself, but this were
Well, all I can say is it beats being in the snow.
Oh, true. Chuck, your experience as a contractor for so many years, and I've learned a lot from you over the years, and your experience with permeable paving, and listen, it goes on and on. You have within you a wealth of knowledge and experience that I find difficult to find anyone else.
Well, you're very kind, but it takes time to garner and gain through experience. Because you, like your dad would tell you, I can tell you something, but until you experience it, you're not going to remember what it was that I told you. So,
well,
don't touch that hot stove. You know?
My old mentor, Bill Schneider, and your old boss.
Yeah.
He told me that a few times, and I still didn't believe him.
Yeah.
So I really didn't learn.
Well,
he told me.
Yeah.
I heard it. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And once I broke something, then I go, aha.
You know, it's, as contractors, I think that there is a skill set required to do the job properly, but there's also a need to understand how to run a business, and management skills, people skills. I think the best teacher that I ever had was an old guy that told me that. He says, you know, quality is remembered long after price is forgotten. And sometimes we get wrapped up in price and we forget about the true cost of a project. And it ties right into the other thing that I like to buzzword is, of course, there's price, quality, service. Pick two. You can't have all three. And I think I think the ability of a person to be viable in any market, any business, is the ability to provide a quality product or service, and keep the customer satisfied.
You know, and the promises, the siren song of interlocking pavers that brought me to this industry, you know, was the lifetime pavement.
Yeah.
And it is reality. You look at the Appian Way and all that sort of stuff, and you see that you have a pavement that can far outlast a structure.
Sure.
But what does that take?
It takes a lot of dedication, attention to detail, using quality products. Building the job properly as it was designed or engineered, whether it's residential construction or commercial construction. It's all part of a system that's designed to either be pervious or impervious, and that's an arena I've been working in lately is permeable pavers, because once again I think that if we can create value in what we're selling and find more uses for the products that we're dealing with, I think the people are more inclined to do business with you. So here again, if you take permeable pavers, you can provide stormwater management.
Well, let's talk about permeable
sure.
Later on here. But what I want to get back focused on is again the quality aspect. Yeah. Today, especially in the economy that we have currently, and we've been surviving the last 3 years through price.
We're a price-driven economy, no question about it.
It's almost impossible to build one of those pavements we talked about with the price pressure that people are under. It's not impossible. There are people doing it, but it is a very difficult market to get business.
No, that's true. But here again, the art of analyzing your business, looking at establishing a budget, arriving at what your overhead costs are, estimating your jobs properly. These are all business issues that some people don't look at, and they go, oh, I can do this for so much a square foot. Well, can you really? What you need to look at is materials and labor required to do a specific skill set, and use those as estimating tools and keep job cost history. Look at what you've been doing.
But you know, you can't even do job cost unless you've actually identified the components, which means you have to have a chart of accounts for your accounting.
Sure.
These charts is what you apply these different functions or materials to, and if those lists aren't complete, you're not going to be able to properly track cost and estimate your work.
This is true. You know, we have the school for segmental pavement construction.
Yeah.
You teach people business methods. You teach people how to break apart an estimate and look at a job function, assign value to it. That's just like going to college or school. If you don't get education, I don't know that you're going to go very far in life. Or you can still live, but you won't live as well maybe as you would like to.
When I started contracting for pavers, and I too was probably one of the very worst business people.
I remember the day.
Days, years, whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I started to truly understand those cost factors that the concept of the business side of what I did started to clear up. And what stopped me from doing budgets, which are a horrible thing anyway, and true costing, was that I said, well, no matter what number I come up with, it's going to be wrong. And yes, you're probably right, but each job and each entry after that first one will narrow your margin to where it's going to be closer.
Yeah.
And budgets, and again, I was ignorant of budgets. Your first budget pretty much sucks.
Yep.
Your second budget gets better. Your third budget gets better yet, because what you're doing is you're starting to learn how to identify which components are important to track and which ones are not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are afraid to take that very first step.
Well, I can understand. Typically, it was my experience that small contractors would want to be self-employed business people. And they would come in and they would take projects, and it was always based on price, only because they didn't have a history to show people what they could do. And after their saws wore out and their truck wore out, they kind of didn't pay their bills to the manufacturer, so after about 3 to 5 years, they went out of business. And it didn't have to happen that way, but they didn't look around to see if they could get some help. I think there's plenty of areas where people can go and get help, but they have to realize that we're in the business as contractors of selling man hours. We're not, we happen to install pavers, or we happen to install retaining walls. That's just part of what we do, but we're really in the business of selling man hours. So doing a budget, arriving at a raw cost for your labor plus overhead recovery and assigning a net profit, that's basic business 101. And in order, here again, as a manufacturer, as do other manufacturers, we actually provide help with contractors or small business people, because we don't want to see them go out of business. We want them to be successful, and it's in our best interest for them to get the help that we offer,
survive,
in order for them to be our customers forever. This is about long-term relationships. I've known you for a long time, and so I've seen you grow and become what you are today. But we also know that as we age, we also have to get tools and equipment to do the job. And
pretty soon it's going to be a wheelchair. But
oh yeah, well, whatever. But I think a lot of people think they work harder and they'll overcome and meet some prices that they picked out of the air. But sadly, at the end of the day, you have to work smart, not work harder.
And that's why, here at the Hardscape channel, one of the most important things that we're trying to do is to take vision and experience and history of people like yourself and try to share it with the contractors out there. And we have to ask those that are seeing this video to get other contractors to look and understand it isn't just this interview we're doing, it's all the other interviews that hopefully we can share better ideas, better practices, growth of our industry, growth of your business.
Yeah, I think it's teamwork. It takes a contractor plus a manufacturer to work together to increase the market, and it comes through marketing skills, business skills, good hard work, creativity, thinking outside the box, looking at what you're doing today, how can I improve that for tomorrow's job. You just keep going after it, but you got to be astute about what you're doing. You can't just bull your way through it. Not that you would do that.
No. That was business 101. I took the wrong course.
Yeah.
Chuck, I want to thank you so much for your insight.
I appreciate the opportunity.
And thank you for all the work in the industry that you do and have done.
I'm in a position now that I can teach other people, and I'm happy to do so.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you
so much.
Yep.